My friend Richard asked me if I knew what heaven would be like. And I said, well, I imagine I'm going to be like a small cube of glowing energy next to all the other small little cubes of glowing energy, like a giant diamond necklace in space, all glorifying God together. Richard told me that that was wrong. He said it's going to be a wedding in heaven and that we're all going to be married to Christ. Richard said he sometimes wonders if I really know anything about the Bible. I told him I follow the gist of it and that when the time comes, I'll be dressed and ready to go, just like everybody else, because that will be the seemly thing to do, with or without the diamond necklace. Welcome. Welcome to Sunday Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. At Sunday Coffee Hour, we talk about everything and nothing. This Sunday, we talked about potassium and magnesium, how pain presents itself in various ways, choosing between being farsighted and nearsighted, and share some Lehman Brothers. We also talked about having mixed feelings about dying. The readings at Washington National Cathedral were from Isaiah, God lays waste to the guarded city, and from Philippians, be of one mind in Christ the Lord. The gospel reading was from Matthew. We were all invited to the wedding banquet, but we had other plans. At Washington National Cathedral, the sermon was by Randy Hollerith. Randy preached about how putting on a new garment means having a spiritual change. Randy shared a joke about how going to church doesn't make you a Christian any more than standing in your garage makes you a car. Randy expressed exasperation at the events in the Middle East. One can surmise that we're all invited to the banquet, unless you're Hamas. Randy said that the readings about the celestial banquet is more of an allegory than a parable. The great banquet is a metaphor for heaven, and the invited guests are the Israelites, and the servant who was sent is Jesus. In the end, we will have a new guest list, which includes everyone, including both the good and the bad. We're not off the hook by being ritualistic pure, even in our own eyes. We actually have to show up and do something. Guests are expected to arrive at the banquet with a change of heart represented by the new garment. We need to dump last season's look and put on the new fashion that's provided to us with the matter of fact indifference of knowing that there's no other option because it's the seemly thing to do. And seemly is always in good taste. It's the closest we'll get to showing up wrapped in God's amazing love. There's a difference between being religious and having a religious experience. At St. James Cathedral, the sermon was by Stephen Balke. Stephen extended an invitation for one-on-one counseling for those struggling to come to terms with the narrative shift in the Middle East. Stephen said there are two kinds of people, those who have not heard and are not prepared, and those who are prepared but don't know how to act. Both situations represent a cop-out because whether we've heard or prepared, most of us have seen and experienced many examples of those who have come before us, the people who've offered the response of love and kindness, often in the midst of a lot of unknowing. Stephen said at St. James, they act by serving others as a way to see the humanity in people. Through meals ministries, worship, and hospitality, Stephen said, we do this to step out of the narrative of isolation, ego, and self-absorption, to see the humanity in each other. Yes, we all want to shout at the darkness, but it's so much better to be a light in the darkness. Instead of copying out, we can slip into something more comfortable and still be in style. I ran into my friend Alan Crane in the shower room at the East Bank Club this week. Alan is a liberal Jew from Highland Park. He told me that there's a whole new narrative going on in the Middle East that's very pro-Palestinian. I asked him how this could be when our entire adult life, all we've ever heard is that if you're not pro-Israel, then you're anti-Semitic. He said, well, that's the new narrative and it's coming from the left. I told Alan that that can't be because nothing bad ever comes out of the left. We know that from watching the news. I told Alan I'd rather be falsely accused of being a bad person than be falsely accused of being a good person in popular culture. I remember Peg Griffin from church handing out pro-Palestinian flyers inviting me to rallies years ago. I really didn't know what she was talking about, but apparently she was ahead of her time, advocating for pro-humanity even before it was popular. I can see why the people at St. James might see the need for one-on-one counseling to come to terms with all this change. The new garment that people have to try on is the idea that there's no difference between people, but there's a difference between a religion and a government, and between corruption, which always seems to be almost universal. In this country, people can take this opportunity to see the people in the Capitol riot, in the MAGA people, and in the Republicans, all of whom would be consigned to the Gaza Strip if we had one. Seeing these people as people, along with everyone else, is a stretch for some. Many of us don't feel prepared to make that change. None of us want to change or be different, but at some point, everyone puts on the new garment. When you're on a sinking ship, you put on the life vest. And when you jump out of an airplane, you pull the cord on your parachute vest. And when you go to a wedding, you usually make the effort. We're all being called to slip into something new. We can still be who we are and see others for who they are. None of us have to be diminished by who we are. That doesn't make us anti-Semitic or a domestic terrorist. It doesn't make us a right-wing nut job, and it doesn't make us a mouthpiece for the left. It makes us attired in the best garment imaginable, the garment of love and understanding and kindness. This is how the most people have responded in the most places at the most times throughout history. It's the people who came before us, and it will be the people who come after us. And that's the best fashion trend this season, with or without the diamond necklace. If you would like to join us at Sunday Coffee Hour is every Sunday at 12 noon Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video. I'll be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.